So, because I know a lot of people ask this question all the time, including myself, and we go back and forth on it all the time too, is whenever you're optimizing creative, I I always seen like, I guess you can say like an amount spent has been sort of that main lever that you look at of like, okay, this is like spending a lot, it's probably doing good, don't change it.
Mhm.
So you said something earlier where it's like, okay, CPA is bad. Okay, spend though, leave it on. But if CPA is bad and spend is low, turn it off.
Mhm.
But that also layers in what type of creative it is. If there's another one, or if that's the only one kind of thing. Like if it's a UGC creative, then that's the only one in there, and it's not tested against anything else. It might just not be the format for it, or you need to have more iterations to test inside of the UGC side of the, I guess, ad style or whatever you want
Mhm.
to call it. I know we were talking about, and I don't know if we want to go too in depth on this, but I know we're talking about hook rate and CTR and sort of like leading indicators of that. Have you seen any trends lately with that on like founders videos for like hook rates or hold rates?
You know what? I have not looked yet. I know we were talking about that, but let's look now. Let's see if we
Okay.
can. Let's look together. So I'm going to pop this campaign open again. Let me share screen. Let me go camera.
So for everyone, the thought process behind this was that people don't necessarily click on the ads all the time, and we're seeing this in other accounts where we'll have first click imports, meaning that we're only importing in data for someone that first clicked on, like for example, a Google ad, and so we're seeing, for example, a lift inside of Facebook on spend, but we're not seeing it translate to results, but we're seeing first click results on Google brands. So we're seeing brand increase and not seeing those clicks come from Meta at all. Meta's not even getting attribution for it. It's purely just going over to Google because that's where the click took place. So the correlation is there, but as everyone knows, obviously Meta is very much on, impressions, not necessarily clicks all the time. Because I mean, if you're just going through and scrolling, you might like say, "Oh, this is an interesting product. I watched the video," and then you go and Google it. You don't click on the ad and then like convert all the time.
Yep, exactly. So I'm looking at. It's funny. The day of the sale, we had a 33% hook rate. The few days before the sale was 35. So it's definitely like has a 35% hook rate. And let's look at another ad that we saw that we know is UGC. This one here as an example, view charts, 18%. Okay, so 18 to 35. So let's actually look at something
Oh,
here for an example. This one is twice as good. So if we filter to the selected items, these two here during the last sale period, and then compare that to the previous 7 days, UGC is getting half the hook rate of Founder Story and Show Me Potato Salad. All right, yeah, there we go. This
wow.
one was getting 432 compared to 1700. This one had a better hook rate. This one, when the sale happened, is now basically 40% cheaper, maybe almost, or yeah,
Literally, yeah.
about 35 to 40% cheaper in CPA as it went. So that is indication that yes, hook rate was the winner there. Let's look at another one. This is fun. We're
That's
doing things.
interesting.
This is actually a kind of a really simplistic video. This is my Wally Fat People, where we're just kind of clicking like you're
Yeah,
on the site,
my
figure out
Wally fat people.
the Wally Fat People. Let's see what the
Just showing you what we do.
let's see what the hook rate is on Wally Fat People. 14%. That's not great at all.
Yeah,
It was
hold rate though, but yeah.
it was a pretty, yeah, hold rate's good. It was a pretty, I'm probably wondering what the hell I'm watching a video on because I click the video and nothing moves besides that number.
Yeah,
This is an example of not a great ad, folks.
yeah.
We just needed something. Well, let's just see. Last 7 days compared to previous 7 days. This one had spend on
I
it
mean,
and
it,
spend.
it could be middle of funnel too.
There you
Just people
go.
see and then they decide to click on it and go. But
So one of
yeah,
the worst performing is in between my best and second best. So interestingly enough, my worst performing is now the second best CPA. So that sucks compared to this one. It was half of this one here, and got a better result. All right, so that's one. Let's look at the next, just one more. All right, this one is another video ad. View charts, hook rate 20%. Last 7 days. This one, yeah. So the two worst performing hook rates have now the second and third spot.
this is confusing.
Yeah, thanks, Meta. What's this one? Here's another Wally Fat People. 14% hook rate. Again, really crappy. Also one of the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so weird.
Yeah. So unfortunately, even the single image had a really good CTA. Again, see, now here's what's funny. Just because data, not data driven, but just because model data placed it better, need more time, need more data. I don't think hook rate is going to be the best indication just because hook rate's a factor. I don't think it's the factor. I think it is a factor. But if you click on it, that now is a way better indication that that motivated someone than a hook rate. So, and that one click conversion could be the difference between a 50% CPA change. If you only had 2 clicks, depending upon your ad spend. So I think it's still kind of a culmination of everything. I really do believe that it's model data is simply to save us from ourselves. What I mean by that is if you had, we're going to do paint because I'm a 5-year-old still. Yay. If you had a bunch of ads, let's just imagine all these were the same size. And this is Bob. Bob's going to be a star.
Bob is a star.
There we go. Bob's a star. And Bob clicks this ad, watches that ad, clicks this ad, watches that ad, clicks this ad, clicks this ad. And then converts. Where do you put the 1?
Yeah, ideally further up the funnel, but you don't know if
I
it's
hope.
educating them through it. So,
and I think if Meta has to choose one, I think what they're doing is they're doing this. I think there is a bunch of ads, and I think there's a bunch of Bobs, and I think it does this. Watches that, clicks that, sees that, watches that, clicks that, sees this, watches that, clicks that, sees this, watches that, clicks that, sees this, and then it just says, I have 6 people, 6 conversions, 6 ads. You all win. I kind of think that's what it's doing a little bit. I think it is doing a little bit because sometimes all of a sudden you see like spend get halved for a week and then it gets 2 more conversions. I'm like, how?
We'll give you a little bit. You did good. Pat on the back.
And the other part too is I really think that it's not as clear cut and dry as we all think. I also, to further complicate how I believe the attribution algorithm is working inside of Meta when you're looking at creative diversification and change is if you are looking at your funnel here, your top and middle and bottom of the funnel, just these 3 areas here, top, middle, and bottom of the funnel. If you have ads here and you have ads here and you have ads here, the way this works is this essentially does this. Whoa, it goes, it's paint, so who cares? But it's, they do this, and then this, these people do this, is trying to find people a little bit above the funnel, a little bit below the funnel.
Yeah, different people at different parts of the journey.
Exactly. And so I think what ends up happening is because these are all kind of spidering off in different segments here, what we have to know is true is that these people will then jump down to this one. Then these people might jump down to this one. This actually could jump up to this one, then back down to this one. So not only do we have all of the pieces of dynamic creative at each stage of the funnel going out and finding people to bring back in to shut down, they also bounce around. And then then it's a different user that's also clicking different ads. So now we have an X and Y axis. So it's almost like an X, Y, and Z axis because you have time now. Yeah. So if you're looking at this through a cube, you basically have a elongated cube, which is 7 days of a sales cycle. And then it's just bouncing around here and it has to attribute 1. Yeah. It doesn't work that way. So things, hook rates, well, the shittiest one does the best. CPA, the worst CPA ad was now second best. Spend, okay, now we're on to something.
Yeah, so I guess this comes down to so incentives, right? The platform wants people to be on the platform. They want it to be a good experience. So they're going to try to prioritize the best experience for the user. Mm-hmm. If they're putting the most amount spent towards that user, that can be an amalgamation of like good enough hook rate, good enough hold rate, good enough interest, they're stopping to scroll, good enough click-through rate, good enough, whatever the case is, and sort of an amalgamation of all those put into like amount spent is what it's trying to optimize for. Mm-hmm. So I'd be curious. So based on the structure that we've talked about, what it sounds like then is that you don't really need that many ads when it comes to your first batch, because you don't need to cycle like a new ad every single week. You might need to just wait longer for that ad to actually get interaction. So we're talking like maybe a batch a month kind of thing, depending on spend. Yeah. Like 18 ads max, not even like 9 ads a month. Mm-hmm. And then one of each type, and maybe one just crazy one in there, and then just keep cycling those until you get a high enough spend, and then you start going in like product categories, and then you kind of go from there.
Yeah, I honestly think spend. Meta, I don't believe is going to dump a whole bunch of spend on anything that isn't working. That is has been the purest form of indication. I've not seen in any of my accounts on Meta so far something that has a high amount of spend that after a liquidation event or some sort of sale or something, which, you know, we have with e-commerce, we run all the time.
Yeah.
Or a text message or email campaign, something that would trigger conversion back to the original, back to the original source. Spend has one.
With Cappy imports.
Well, I mean, not even, because the wearable tech had, I mean, that right there had no liquidation event. Yep.
I guess
first 7 days starting, but spend is still dictating best performance so far.
Yeah, correct. So I'm just saying like more so on like the 7-day versus like 26 days you do a sale kind of thing.
Yeah. And so that's the thing too, is like, unless you have a liquidation event and then you can say like, okay, we burned through a war pipeline, then you go back and check your ads, what actually worked, because you could have had a 21-day sales cycle where 2 weeks have gone by where you're marketing and you're getting some sales and everything. And all of a sudden you run an ad and you got like a bunch of people that are ready to buy. And all of a sudden they're just like 20% off sale. Like, okay. And they buy it. That has to go back to one of the original sources. So I would say that to judge ad copy, if you're not planning a liquidation event, maybe test that. Maybe run a small flash sale, see what is working, and then make your judgment. But pure CPA is not the way to do it anymore. Hey, if you like this video, we have a school community where we have a few hundred members and we cover topics, everything from the basics to all the way to the like hyper crazy advanced stuff that's like coming out next month. So a few hundred members there. We go live twice a week, something with an hour-long education about something that is very relevant to the community that week, plus a weekly Q&A where you just get to come and bring us all of your problems and we solve them one at a time.
So I have a link below in the description if you want to join. And then obviously if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we can answer those for you. And we'll see you in there.